Hello and welcome to Mike's Garage. If you've already subscribed to our YouTube channel, thank you very much. If you haven't, please do, and when you do, be sure and tap on the notification bell so you'll be notified every time we put up a new video. You know, doing this YouTube channel has been a real interesting experience for me and Mike too, and I just have to look at it realistically, myself and the role I play in motorcycling. The big thing is I love to ride. I really, truly love to ride. I love to ride these old Harleys more than anything, and I've ridden just about every kind of motorcycle I ever heard of, except for the real old ones. I think the height of my career was riding a 1913 single-cylinder Excelsior a buddy of mine owns. It was a real thrill. It was really fun. But of course, with this older machinery, you've got to maintain it. And it was made to rebuild and maintain and work with to the best of the ability of the manufacturers at the time. So you got to do stuff. There's routine stuff that just needs to be done on these old bikes. Now, we just put Elsie, my friend's old Panhead, back in service, and I'm about to do a bunch of lengthy stuff to my Shovelhead, which is my ride every day road bike. That's my take it and go everywhere long distance with it and get there real fast and do all that stuff. That's my Shovelhead. Well, I'm going to tie up the Shovelhead, so I said, gee, I haven't even ridden the Panhead in a couple of months. So I dragged out the Panhead and wiped it all down and said, okay, what do I do? Would the viewers actually like to see this? And I think I'm going to show a bunch of things that I've already shown before. There's like nothing really new here. But what I'm doing is it's not like putting a bike back in service. It's just like saying, okay, I haven't ridden it in a couple of months. I better check some things out and make sure that everything's really up to snuff. I don't have time to mess with it. To me, it's real transportation. So once I put it on the road and I start to ride it, I expect to kick it over and go anywhere I want to go. And that's kind of the way that works. So everything is pretty much up to date on it, but I want to look it over and just get a feel, get myself used to my Panhead for the moment. Okay, first off, I'm going to check the points. Now, I already pulled the spark plugs out. Obviously, we're already on the lift. I tried to take some shortcuts to get ready to go for this. But here she is on the lift now, and I want to check the points. Now, there's something I forgot to do. Mike, can I kind of route around you here? One of the things is, I've always shown this, I've actually shown this repeatedly. This is a music stand. And my music stand, okay, now this is a 52 Panhead, so I've got the 52 service manual out, stuck a paper towel here from Subway sandwiches. That was not an advertisement. Okay, and I can look it up and see, and right here it tells me, where is it? Well, let's see. Well, it's here somewhere. Single point contact, which is what that is. And it says it right. Where the heck is it? Mm-hmm. 22 thousandths it's supposed to be set at. The reason I brought this book out is because this is a 48 to 57 factory service manual. 58, they went to swing arm. But each generation of these service manuals is done by somebody different, apparently, because they're way different from each other. Now, I had to go to the distributor section, actually what Harley calls it is a circuit breaker, in order to find that 22 thousandths measurement. Now, if I open up this 59 to 69, and I go to that standard distributor, Son of a gun. Not distributor, circuit breaker. Everybody's going to correct me anyway. It's supposed to be at 20. I'm going to set it at the other one at 22. Okay? But my point is, you look it up and you make sure you're right, especially if you work on several different bikes. Okay, now this is, because remembering it all is not easy. Okay, now those points aren't open far enough to put this feeler gauge in. Oh, you want to feel just a little drag on them. And boy, that's close. I want to open them just a hair. So I'll take this little stubby screwdriver and see if that got me any closer to it. You can see I bent this feeler gauge so I can get in here easily. Yes, sir. It's too tight. Now, there we go. That should do it. Now that's going to be just a little bit loose. Seems to me if I tighten it up there, that should close it just an itty bit. No, it's open a little too wide. But it's interesting that the service manual says this should be checked every 1,500 miles. Now that may sound a little often for people, but that's the way it is to keep these things in real tip-top running condition. And tell you what, they're a lot more fun when they start with a single kick every time, especially when everybody's looking. There it is. I got what I wanted there. I tightened up the lock screw. I think that's it. Now I might also add, in case I didn't mention it, the spark plugs are out, so I was able to turn this over by hand easily and bring that lobe on the shaft up to where it opens the points to their maximum opening, and you can check it with a feeler gauge. Okay, now we know that's in good shape. And while I'm here, let me get my grease gun here. I'm going to get everything a shot right here. Now, let's see, I got a brake pedal here that needs a shot. Does it really need it? I don't know. There it is. Let's just put a little grease in there, a little shot there. You can see it coming out the bottom. My dad used to tell me, put grease in it till you see it coming out, then you know you got all clean grease in there. Put a little in the cross shaft for the rear brake. And I'm going to leave that sloppy grease on there until I'm done. So if I go back and look over the whole thing, I know I did it. Okay, so there's the points. And there's the grease fittings that need to be done on this side of the motorcycle. Now the next thing will be the seat post for a number of reasons. So let's get that. Mike, can you get the camera in there and you can see how the pin holds this on here. Here. Oh, I was going to do it. Okay. This is the clip that holds it. Let's see. There it is. There's a clip that holds it. Now we'll get that little pin out of there. And then we're going to pick up a, oh, I hope I remembered to bring everything out. I wanted to bring up a bungee cord. Oh, I got a comment from somebody about how they hate bungee cords. And to tell you the truth, probably the most dangerous thing about a motorcycle is a bungee cord. Hope I don't get sued by a bungee cord factory. Okay, that holds that seat up while I do anything I want to do here. And now most bikes don't have this. This is a battery cover, an accessory battery cover that, oh, I don't know, I picked it up somewhere years ago and trimmed it to fit this bike. But I like it because I didn't have to make a fancy battery to look proper in here. It's kind of a neat way to do it, is just put this cover on it. I like it. It's a little different. And I dropped that lock washer in there. There it is. So we'll set this down here. And what we can do, let me get my voltmeter here, wherever it is. There it is. Bike's been sitting for a couple of months, and I'll probably give it a charge overnight tonight with a trickle charger, but I'd like to see how many volts it has in it right now. So there's the positive, and there's the negative. This is one of those gate batteries. It shows 13.04 volts in it. I'm so pleased with those batteries. They're not expensive. I'm not trying to sell them. I'm not selling a brand. I'm just saying that's pretty neat. Okay, the next thing is we'll give this Zerk fitting here a shot of grease. You can see it come up around the post right there. And at the same time, we'll put a little grease on here and here. And then I'll grease this little pin. Oh, I don't want to put that on until I put the battery cover back on. And I don't think I'm going to need to put a charger on that tonight. That's pretty funny. 13.04 after sitting for a couple of months. That really pleases me. Now I do have, this is a whole 12 volt system on here. And I sure like it. Let's see, let me get one of these out. Let me do a little wiping here because I'm going to cover this back up. And put this cover back on. That sure went on nice and easy. And these are Harley knobs from back in the day. I think these are two different era knobs. No, these are the same. It probably came out of the 50s or 60s. I think they were actually made for Harley Davidson by an outside vendor that I used to do business with. It doesn't seem to be around anymore. They were in Ohio. And they made all kinds of trim pieces. Okay, now, we're ready to put the seat back down, which is going to be pretty easy. And down she goes. There it is. It's in there. I can do this by braille. There it is. And it is all hooked up and ready to go. I can remove this rag now. Okay, so we got the battery done. We got the ignition points done. That pretty well takes care of this side of the bike because we got the brake linkage done. Now I do have the bike jacked up in the rear. And get that grease out of there. Okay. Brake pedal works well. Everything works well there. That takes care of the right side of the bike, except later I may take the lever up. That lever's perfect. Not a single problem there. So I'm going to go to the other side of the bike now and see what I need to do. Now somebody called, or somebody wrote in, and they asked me about clutch linkage. This rod here that goes up to my rocker pedal, there is a hole in the end of that clevis. Like I said, this is a quickie service, just making sure everything's cool. So what I'm going to do, they asked what that hole was really for, and I explained that that hole, can you get in there? Go ahead and go ahead of me. I'll move around here. Okay? But if I go into that hole with this tube, which originally that was made for an old style oil can, there we go. We got it in there. Okay? Now, if I was doing a really serious service, I would take all that apart and grease it. But this is just because the bike's been sitting for a couple of months. And I can just take and put some good spray lube. This particular lube has Teflon in it. I hear that one. I can hear that one. Let's see, it's not tight, it's loose. We got our free play in that clutch arm. Okay. And we can put a little there maybe. A little there. Like I said, if I was taking it apart and cleaning it all is one thing. But the bike's just been serviced before I rode it last. So we'll put a little spray in there and a little in there. Next time I take it apart, well, I'm going to grease it real good. But it was last time. So let's put this into first gear. Then we'll try second gear. You might want to get right on top of that so you can see the numbers on the shifter. There's second gear. There's third gear. And there's fourth. Well, that's all working just as smooth as can be. Okay. Now we've done that. Now, do we have any Zerk fittings on here? I don't think so. Yep, got just one. So let me get my grease gun and put a little bit in that clutch pedal. You know, this is, and please excuse me for using, there we go, the expression. This really is my reality. Gee, I'm putting my bike back in service. I haven't ridden it in a couple months. This is what I do. This is normal. This is normal life to me. You know, I'm not in business. This is taking care of my bikes now. There we go. This one's already been set. It's just, no, it's fine. Perfect. And that book over there says 30,000, so that's where I wanted it. On my Panhead. Now, Panheads are kind of wonderful for lots of reasons. One of my favorites, although it sounds like a small thing, is it has steel inserts cast right into the head for the spark plugs. And I love that. Those holes don't wear out, but I can't help it. I'm that way. I still have to put a little anti-seize on the threads. Just because they're good, I still want to appreciate them. So we'll do both of them. And I know last time I rode this thing, check the gap. Oh, I didn't check the gap on that one, did I? I was right up on it. But I can't remember everything I do from one time to the next. So it's like, get it out and look it all over. And that's basically what I'm doing here. I do remember last time I rode it, I did check and clean the fuel filter, which is right there. I know that's not a nice original steel line, but that nice neoprene line sure makes it easier to deal with. And last time I rode it, I put these nice new ultra heavy duty super double whammy copper spark plug wires on it. And they're back on. Okay. There we are. So, we have lubed everything on this side. We have done the plugs, points, all the stuff from both sides now. Checked the battery. I checked the oil before we got onto this video, but the oil is fresh from a couple months ago when I changed the oil and was riding it then. What I'd like to do now is to show something, and I'm not going to show the whole deal. We're going to show how to do it, and then I'm going to stop. And what it is I use chain wax. Now, I don't know how many brands of this there are, but the instructions say to ride the bike, get the chain nice and warm, and then do that. Now, I've already gone over this chain with a hand brush and blown it off with an air hose. And the interesting part is when you do that, you get to see on the chain itself that what really gets dirty that you're concerned about is the inside. And it really gets nice and clean just by running it. So if you wipe it all down, you got it nice and clean here. I didn't go crazy cleaning it. But what I'm doing is I'm warming this chain with a heat gun. Could be done just as easily with a hairdryer, because you don't really want to get it hot. You just want to get it nice and warm. You get it too hot and you spray this stuff on, it'll go up in flames. So you don't want to do that. Going up in flames is rude. We don't do rude. Okay. Now we got this chain nice and warm. So what I'm going to do, put this rag behind it. Now I did it where I started where the master link is, so I'll know how much I've done. But I don't want to get this chain lube all over the tire. And there it is. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll rotate it a little more and do the next patch. But I don't think you need to see me go through the whole thing and do it. So as far as I'm concerned, this thing is ready to go for a ride tomorrow. I will check the tires for pressure. I know that everything's really ready to go. But like I said, after letting the bike sit for a couple of months, you know, there's one other safety check here. Does the headlight work? Does it work on high beam and low beam? There's high, there's low. Oh yeah. Do the passing lamps work? Yes, they do. Does the fender light work? Yes, it does. Okay, now, is the tail light working? Yes, it is. Is the brake light working? Yes, it is. Are my little extra tail lights working? Yes, they are. But those are all the things you want to check out. The other thing, I'll probably check the air cleaner element, but if I know me, it's clean. I probably did it last time I rode it. So, tomorrow is Sunday, and I'm going for a ride. Hopefully, I'll see you out on the road.